So today we're going to be talking about differentiation. We're going to talk about a few different things. So we want to cover what it is, obviously. And differentiation can be confused with a lot of things, and some people have partial ideas of what it is, but they don't understand the full story. So we're going to talk about what it is not as well. And then lastly, we want to talk about what it actually looks like in the classroom. So we're going to take what we talked about and then try to be able to apply it into a specific classroom. So the first thing I want to say is, why do we differentiate? Why is this important? Why do we care about this? How is it helpful? Etc. So we want to take that out of the way so that we know why this is important. So you can walk into any given classroom, and you're gonna come across a variety of students. So even if I teach the same Algebra 2 class, first period, second period, third period, um, everything will still be different just amongst those different classes. I can't always do the same thing I do for first period that I do for third period, because the students are different and they learn differently, they think differently, and so that's what we want to account for. And we want everyone to be successful, so this is one of the best ways that we can do that. Something that I refer to as the cookie cutter method, most people refer to it as the one size fits all method. So we want to differentiate because that isn't true. It isn't one size fits all. Like I said, the same thing I do for first period, I can't do for third period, and that even applies to individual students as well. So something I do for Abby, as a made-up student, I can't necessarily do for Michael because it won't make sense quite as well to him. He is a different type of learner. And when we do the same thing with everyone, it can put students at a disadvantage because, like I said, they think differently, they have different skills. So if you give students an art project, well, all the students in there that are really good at art are going to be thrilled and probably thrive. Even if they don't necessarily understand all the material, they can still come up with a great art piece. But those that are less artistically challenged, like myself, would instantly get very stressed and frustrated because I wouldn't know what to do. Even if I understood the material, my art piece probably wouldn't show that. So that's why differentiation is important. So let's talk about what it is. So differentiated instruction is when a teacher anticipates and responds to a variety of students' needs. So there are kind of two parts here. So anticipates and responds. So those two things are very important. The anticipate becomes beforehand, and the respond kind of comes during the actual lesson. So we need to be aware of students' needs, and this takes time to do. It's not going to happen on your first day in the classroom, but working with your students and paying attention to them, then we're going to be able to figure out what they need, and then we'll be able to present those things in the classroom on any given day. So basically, we can give students choices about how to learn and how to demonstrate their knowledge. And like I said, we need to pay attention and become aware of them. Students are going to be different. We need to not just be accepting of those, but understand those differences as well, so that we can do our best to accommodate for them. So we also call it kind of like a proactive teaching and responsive teaching. So the proactive again comes like beforehand, and then the responsive is kind of during. So like I said about the cookie cutter thing, there's no cookie cutter is going to work for everyone. We need different shapes and sizes to work for all the individuals. And like I said, it is for all the individuals, so it's for all students. It's not just students with IEPs or students with who are on 504s or anything. It's for all students at all levels. So let's talk about what it is not really quick. So it is not improvisation. It's not, I mean, that is a small degree. That's why it's confused a little bit. There's nothing, improvisation isn't bad per se, but sometimes we can't always connect our students and our content when we improvise. So that's kind of part of it, but we need to think these things through ahead of time. So we kind of don't want to improvise. And so it's not just teaching content, but it's actually teaching individuals. So I'm a math teacher, so I'm not going to worry just about, well, I'm just going to teach them and I'm going to get my content and say I did it and then I'm going to be done. But it's actually, okay, I want these students of mine to actually learn. So it's maybe going a little deeper than just the content. I was always taught to never sacrifice depth for content. So if we can go a little bit deeper with our students, then that would be our goal. And if we differentiate, then we are able to broaden our base and get more students at a deeper level than just teaching the basic content and having a few students understand. So with differentiation, we can split up into different group sizes, and that could be good depending on the individual. But just know that differentiating isn't just putting them into groups based on their ability. So I don't put everyone that's really good at math with everyone else that's really good at math. And then, the lower understanding students, I don't put them all together. That's not what differentiation is. So keep that in mind as we go through this as well. And also, it's not dumbing down the material for certain individuals. Just because we change things a little bit, we change how they learn and how they can present their knowledge, doesn't mean that it's dumbing down the information. They can still be learning the same materials, it's just presented in a different way. Okay, so in the classroom, the goal is to have more students engaged because the teaching style fits their learning style. And that is something I really like and makes a lot of sense to me. I think that's like one of the main definitions of differentiation. You could say teaching style fits the learning style. And everyone can have a different learning style, so why wouldn't we teach that way as well? We can't just teach one way and assess one way and assume that we're going to get all the students. I mean, maybe we'll get majority, but most of the time we probably won't. So that's why we're doing this. And like I said before, this takes time and lots of it. This isn't something that you can do on the first day or maybe even the first week. You really have to learn about your students at an individual level so that you can know how to best differentiate for them individually. So we want to present students with different options to learn the material and present students with different options to show their knowledge of the material. So, like I said, I'm a math teacher, so I try to relate it to math. So what this could look like in the classroom. So first, like I said, students might work better in smaller groups. So groups of 3 are kind of ideal. And I think it is almost better to mix abilities so that people who understand more can help those who understand less. And I think when you're playing a sport, you want to play with people who are better than you so that you can improve as well. So it kind of helps a lot there. A little bit of collaborative learning can help. But I think, so when they're learning material, maybe they want to, maybe they just want to watch me lecture it. Some students work well on that. I'm not one of those students, but some do. Maybe some want to watch a video of someone else explaining it. There are different ways that can be done. And then when we talk about them demonstrating their knowledge, they can choose. So we give them options. So maybe they want to do a presentation in front of the class. That would be fine. Or maybe they, just want to do a straight test to show, here's one problem. What's the slope of this? Like pencil, paper, old school. Maybe I think, if you're doing geometry and you're working on different shapes, maybe they could do an art project and they have to create something, using equilateral triangles and rhombuses and parallelograms or something like that would be really cool. And they could, demonstrate, they could find the areas or, there are different things that they could do with that, but they would be using art, which is something that they love. So outside of math, talk about a couple other examples so it can hopefully make more sense to people. But we have, so let's take an English class for example. So let's say we want them to, they just read a novel and they need to demonstrate like symbolism on the, like what kind of symbols they saw. And I just said, okay, draw a symbol. That's is an art project. Draw a symbol that represents the novel. So as I said before, all the art students, or those who are artistically gifted, are going to thrive on this assignment. And those that aren't, like myself, are going to panic because I think I'm going to fail the assignment because I'm not artistically gifted. So, but maybe I can do something else. I can write about symbols and I can explain. I would draw a bird because blah blah blah, and I can write about it. Or I can make I could do a skit with a couple of peers in a group. There are different options like that. So that's kind of what it looks like in the classroom, but just remember it's on a day-to-day basis. So it's not just doing it once for the final assessment, but it's doing it all the time. So if you're going to remember one thing from this, I would just say don't look past students, look at them and plan for them. So we want to look at students for who they are and how they learn. Try to figure them out. Try to get to know them. And I think it really shows that we care about them when we try to differentiate. And then we want to plan for those things. So this is the proactive part, the anticipating. This is everything that happens beforehand. We want to plan for them, and then we want to use that in the classroom. All right, thanks so much, everyone.